Welcome this afternoon, Dr. Paulding. Thanks for agreeing to do this month's edition of our video posting that accompanies the President's Column. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
And congratulations on your transition from being a trainee to a new attending. How's it going being at Shepherd
Thank
Pratt?
you. Yeah, it's a fun ride, a challenge being a new attending and feels a little familiar being at Shepherd Pratt. So it's a good combination, a good way to start.
Great, great. Well, as you know, this month we're talking about how to best encourage involvement from our early career psychiatrist group in MPS. You know, we have known for many years that it's a bit of a challenge to try to sort of pull your group into the fold, and it's understandable considering you're balancing being a new attending and establishing your career, and you know many have young families that are also tending to. So understandably, you're pulled in many directions. But despite that, we want to make sure that we're being attentive and understanding your needs. So I wanted to, have you do this interview in large part because you were very active as a trainee in MPS. And I'm just curious how that transition is going now that you are an early career psychiatrist. So if you could tell us a little bit about what you did as a trainee with MPS, and then we could talk about what's going on with you now.
Sure. So as a trainee, I was on the resident fellow committee and then transitioned to the chair of the resident fellow committee during my training. So a few years of involvement there, helping to coordinate the trivia for residents every year, and getting the fellows involved in that, and then just support throughout the year with the annual paper contest, and reaching out to residents to stay connected with MPS. Since being an attending, just transitioned to after fellowship membership, and staying connected for the sake of connectedness with other early career psychiatrists, which I think has been super important as a new attending, to have someone to bounce ideas off of, or even just get advice on how to manage time. You mentioned, having your personal life, your work life, a lot of new responsibilities and figuring out how folks are balancing those. So the community offered has been helpful.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I know this year, or maybe for the past 2 years, we worked to set up a WhatsApp uh, um, group for the early career psychiatrists. Have you found that helpful, and how much are you engaging in it?
It has been helpful. I use WhatsApp for a number of different groups, so I forget which one I'm using. Because there's also an ACAP, early career psychiatrist group that I'm a part of, and there's a group that my fellowship class keeps as well. So between those three, that's where I go when I'm quick in the moment. Like, can someone help me out? Can I just bounce this off of you, run it by you? Am I being crazy? Do I still know what I'm doing? So WhatsApp is certainly my go-to for those quick clinical supports that I need.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Tell us about the challenges trying to remain involved in MPS or just in professional organizations in general as an early career psychiatrist. I know it's hard now because again, you're just trying to get establish your footing. So tell us a little bit about that and what challenges you see and how you might stick them out and remain involved.
Sure. I think at the forefront as a new attending, it's like I just want to do this job well. And so most things outside of that fall, a little to the wayside. And so
Yeah.
I focus on seeing my patients, providing care. It's so I'm in the inpatient setting, as you know, and it's the first time that you're kind of fully responsible for some very complex cases. So all the extra diligence of just making sure you're thinking of all the different pieces, treating appropriately, and all the documentation and paperwork administrative parts of being an attending as well that comes up takes up a lot of time, as I have adjusted. And so with my spare time, figuring out, do I give that to personal life? Do I give it to MPS? What's the balance there? And what's the way to connect virtually versus in person? It's a lot of questions to navigate when the focus primarily right after training so far has just been like, can I manage my job effectively?
I
And
get
maybe
it.
figure out some of those other pieces a little later on.
I get it. I get it. Yeah, in conversation that I've had with other MPS members, I reflected on my own time as an early career psychiatrist, and I said, I don't know that I was terribly involved either with MPS, but I sort of hung in there just in the periphery, right? And then when time was right and I felt a little more assured, then I could sort of assert myself and be more involved. Is there other things that MPS could be doing for you, other ways that we could be reaching out, other ways that we could be more supportive, either just to help you, navigate this time or in an effort to get you more involved?
Two things I would say, not necessarily more supportive, but kind of how I stay connected. The NPS listserv is actually pretty helpful. So I don't necessarily read every email, but to just keep a pulse on resources in the area, incredibly
Yeah,
helpful. And just clinical questions to get an idea of challenges other people are seeing, how other people are practicing. That has been a low lift way to stay connected with the NPS community. In terms of additional supports NPS could offer, we just always love the annual trivia night. So just an opportunity, I think, in person to stay connected with early career psychiatrists could be really nice, trivia or otherwise, just to keep, there's the reaching out for clinical support piece of it, and just staying connected with folks in your community on a similar journey. It's a hard job that we do. So keeping those connections after fellowship and supporting us to create that space, I think could be helpful.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Certainly, the trivia night is one of our more popularly attended events. As you know, I get a little competitive with that, even though I'm supposed to be, there guiding the ship. But maybe
I
we
do
can
too.
have a
Our group won the past 2 years. I think a first place and a second place, and we're still very proud of it.
Well, only because I conceded, allowing the
That's
trainee. Regardless, I think those ideas are great. Whenever we can have the opportunity to do more of that and bring people into the fold, even if it's just for a fun event of some silliness, I agree that's a win. Well, you might not appreciate this, but this is also no attempt to keep you in the fold. Even just having you come and do this little interview, as I foresee in the future, you will be one of our leaders in MPS. So this is the beginnings of your path too. So just to
yeah,
give you that heads up, I'm putting it out there.
absolutely. I'll see what I can do.
Great, great. Well, thanks so much for doing this. I think it's very helpful and gives us all some insight on how to best support the ECP group.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank